Hello everybody, Hulkrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 406. And today we're going to be talking about the Icestorm, the clan mech. It's 25 tons, it's a 12-18-0 moving mech, so it does have some decent speed. Then we have 10 single heat sinks. Looking at the weapons loadout, really doesn't need much more than that. And then we look at it has 3.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor for roughly, 56 points of armor, so not a lot. Basically enough to keep the pilot from falling out of his cockpit. And then we have some weapon systems. We have an ER medium laser in the right arm. We have an SRM-2 in the head. And then we have a ton of ammunition in the right torso, and then we have in the center torso tag system, target acquisition gear, which is pretty much the backbone of this mech. All right, so you look at it, it's like, well, it comes in at what, 720 battle value, so it's not overly expensive. Firepower isn't all that great, but its biggest benefit is wrapped around that tag system in the center torso. So you're basically every turn trying to target somebody within 15, and you got the speed of up to 18, so you can get across the board fairly quickly. And then you're going to try to lock on with your tag system. And then if you got any like arrow systems, I guarantee if you have any type of arrow assets on the board, you will want an Icestorm, because that thing can get around pretty quickly and not really want to engage very much and tag something. And then that artillery is guided in and smashes the target. That's where your damage output is coming from. Or if you're in range of your tag, obviously you are going to be plinking away with that one ER medium laser for 7 points of damage. So basically, it's not going to be a lot of damage, but it's going to get the job done for plink it away. Now, you have also that SRM-2 in the head. And you're like, well, there's not a lot of damage there. That's up to 4. No, I'm not loading that thing with any type of standard ammo. What's going in there is Inferno ammo. So if I get it close with something, I'm going to be hitting them with pop shots with those Inferno missiles. And if you see something that's like, hey, there's some heavy woods right there, I'm not going to target the mech. I'm going to shoot the woods and catch them on fire with the Infernos. Yes, who doesn't love having a pyrotechnica on the table? Here, come here, Pyro. Let's go. Gonna play. So that's the whole important thing of that weapon system. It's an harassment weapon system. It's burn people out of buildings. If you got any type of infantry out there, hit them with the Infernos. Some battle armor, hey, you can have some Infernos too. You know, it's like cook them. And that's the whole purpose of that SRM-2. It's like it's not there for doing damage. It's pretty much there for causing harassment, like catching everything on fire and burning the table to the ground. So you got a building, catch it on fire. There. So pretty much how I would play the Icestorm is you're cutting around the edges, trying to tag something. Now if you have somebody that's got a missile boat with LRMs and they have some semi-guided LRMs, hey, what's not to like? If you are hitting them in behind cover or something, those semi-guided missiles still can do some good damage, especially if they're tagged. You know, it's like you can ignore, hey, I don't care about your movement, my fire movement, my movement with fire. Yep, and that little screwy negative to hit. So if you pretty much can guide in all kinds of fun stuff with the semi-guided missiles, you know, with a tag system. So something to think about in a later game. So if you're playing after 3050, you can have semi-guided missiles. You know, here we got all these nice tech that can be played with. So there. Now, other than that, it's like you're going to be cutting the edges all the time and doing a little bit of plinking. And especially if you are got that 18 movement, there's no reason at all to not run. Every turn I'm probably going to be running and making the most I can of your movement modifier. You know, you want to get past, you know, if you go in a straight line, yes, 18, you can get that 5 mod. But if by chance you are sitting there going, okay, I got to make a few turns to get into some heavy woods or something, okay, you got some movement modifier to add. So if you got up to, you know, if you get past that 10 mark, hey, everything is good to go. So, but that, I guess that's one thing to think about is if you can get the 5 mod, so much the better. Now, if you can walk and get that 4 mod and get into, say, some light woods, do it. You're constantly trying to get a 4 or 5 mod with this mech because you don't have any armor at all. You know, it's like you got 56 points, and you look at it, it's like you got 6 points in the center torso, or is that 8? That's 8. Then 6 in the torsos, and 4 in the arms. The arms, yeah, it doesn't take much. One large laser, clan large laser, will take an arm completely off this thing. Now your left side is pretty much a blade of armor. Unless it hits the leg, then that's bad news. And you have, what, 6 in the leg, so up to, yeah, 13. You can take a 13-point hit. So, yeah, you can take a couple hits in the leg before the leg is shot off. So, yeah, definitely want to try and keep this thing moving. Now, that's your biggest defense with this mech, is speed. Always keeping your mod in the 4 or 5 range as much as possible. And just by hitting them with a single large laser, and if there's other slower targets that are bigger and nastier nearby, the odds are they're probably going to be going after the easier targets, and yeah, you're only possibly hitting with a ER medium laser for 7. In the grand scheme of things, it probably will ignore that mech and go after something that's a little more threatening. So, that's the whole thing with the Icestorm. Keep it moving. Speed is your friend. Now, there is another version of this one, the Icestorm 2. Alright, this one came out in the Jihad era. Changes things out a bit. Now it has, instead of single standard heat sinks, it has an armor. It's been exchanged for double heat sinks and more ferrofibrous armor. And then you have a couple heavy medium lasers and an ER flamer in the head. So you got rid of the standard SRM2 for a heavy or ER flamer, so you go shoot out a little bit farther. So it's still doing the same exact role as the SRM, but you don't have that explosiveness that you would get with the ammo of the SRM. So even though you got case, because it comes with case, you're still going to lose the entire torso. And when you look at the sheet with this thing, no sheet, the where'd it go? There it is. Yes, you got the ferrofibrous armor on board. The armor has been upgraded, so it's the same amount of tonnage, but now you have a, I think it's what, let me look here, I think it's 50, is it 56 to, or 67. And then you go to the Icestorm 2. Yeah, it's 67 with the ferrofibers. Alright. So, yeah, it a little bit better armored, even though you're still 20 points short, 22 points short of having maxed out armor on this thing. But at least you got a couple more pips of armor to keep you going a little bit longer when it comes to the armor department. Yeah, you get 6 in the arms, 9 in the torsos, 8 in the legs, and the back still 1, 2, 1. So, and you got 10 in the center torso. So, a little bit more armor. you can take a few more hits and keep on ticking. Even though if you maxed out the armor on this thing, it's, you know, you could do a heck of a lot better and take a few more. You can take those ER large hits and then keep rocketing and rolling. So yeah, there's that. Now with this one, this version, the two heavy medium lasers, you don't have a targeting computer with this. So with the heavy medium lasers, you're going to have a -1. And depending on how fast you're moving, because you're still the 12-18, nothing has changed there. And obviously you got the XL fusion, extra light fusion engines on board. That's where they get a lot of their ability to get this thing kicked up at speed. But the drawback is that you got some heavy medium lasers on board that only go out to 9. And so yeah, you got the minuses to hit with that. And if you're running, you got to, let's say you run, trying to get in around somebody so you get into the flanks or something, you got to get within 9 with that thing. And from 7 to 9, it's potential of having a -3 to even hit your target with that thing, with those two weapon systems. Yes, they do 10 points of damage, but be honest, I'm not a big fan of that. It's like, yeah, you got the heat that comes with those. 14, you got the ER flamers, put you up to 18, and you can run, that's 20, so you're gonna run cool. But I'd rather have two standard ER medium lasers. Yes, you're losing about 3 points of damage per weapon system, but you're gaining range, and you have the capability of not worrying about those minuses, you know, to hit with. I'd rather take a little less damage output for doing more hits, because the odds are, you look at the grand scheme of things, how many more times will you be hitting with the ER medium lasers, because you can stay out at range and you're just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Here you got to, with this one, you got to get in even closer, which means that they're going to get a better firing solution on you. And if somebody has, say, large pulse lasers, maybe a target computer, they may rip you to pieces really quickly. Or even a good pilot that's with a couple ER PPCs will just slag you off the face of the earth, because, hey, I got to get close to shoot my heavy medium lasers, because I can guarantee you, individuals, when they play this mech, will be, I got to get in close and fire everything and keep banging away. And then he's like, the other player's like, come closer, come on, come on. Yes, you can do it. Yeah, thank you very much. Now swat you out of the way. And basically write you off, because they were going to be ripping body parts off this mech really quickly. So there's that. Now, that's why I'd rather have the other version. But, you know, when you got a heavy or ER flamer on this thing, it's almost the same range. You know, it goes out to 7, so it's almost the same range as your heavy lasers. So they're all almost compatible. So yeah, you're gonna be tossing that out there possibly to heat up an enemy mech, or you're going to be the damages too. So that's kind of like a plinking system. So I'd rather, if you're looking at their heat output, you know, because you got a mech that's running hot, yeah, hit them with that flamer and bump up their heat. And it's like, hey, congratulations, you just moved up. You're going to be slower, and maybe you might have to do a shutdown. It might be the difference of kicking them up to 14 and having to roll a shutdown roll, or they have the 2 mods, or the -2 movement, or the +1 mod, you know, kicking them over the edge. So there's like slowing them down, because if you hit a any type of medium or light mech and you slow them down due to heat, makes it easier to rip them to pieces the next turn. So there's that. All right, now if I had this thing to make any type of changes, okay, be honest, I might take the the Icestorm 2 and just, like I said, just convert those 2 heavy medium lasers and make them 2 ER medium lasers. Call it good. That might be the big change I would make on this mech. And it doesn't really have a lot of free space other than playing around with that. That's pretty much it. There's not much else you can do with this mech. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the Icestorm. So, I hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Alcrex out.